Hey all, welcome to Circle of Tone. Back at it again with the George Thorogood and the Destroyers and the Delaware Destroyers. Why am I, predominantly a metalhead, kind of getting obsessed with George Thorogood? I was not like a huge fan. It was more of me driving around or being driven around as a teenager and listening to rock radio, and these songs would keep on coming on. And also, One Bourbon.
One bourbon, one scotch, one beer.
Who do you love? Banana. Like, bangers, man, bangers. And the funny thing is, like, I'll get onto this later on, but most of these songs that were hits for him, he was trying to give away to people to play, like Bo Diddley, or they were the last minute additions to an album where they would almost jam it. And they would be the hits because they were the gritty realism.
You say it, I play it.
Rolling on whiskey, scotch, and beer.
Off the cuff, the ballsiness of them, and it crossed a boundary. George Thorogood crossed a boundary of being radio ready, like just like that. Despite not having verse, chorus, and the rest of it, they were radio ready with a little bit of spit and sawdust with some swagger. You know, bad to the bone, gonna fuck your chick, gonna kick your dog, you know what I mean? Rattlesnakes, shoes, all that type of stuff. Even though it's all, he's not that person. Although I do think he is a bit of a badass, because George Thorogood, dedicated, because I get comments saying, oh, because of COVID, I can't get with anyone to play and this and that, and it's excuse after excuse. I don't have the money for this, I don't have the excuse. He was practically homeless, wandering the streets, until the sun would come up, and then he'd go to sleep. He lived it, man. He lived it, like the sleazy bars, getting paid $10 and that type of thing. But he did something that a lot of luminaries did. He went to where the music was, and he immersed himself in the scene. So, what am I holding here? This is a beautiful Gibson 1959 ES-125. And what got me down the George Thorogood path was, I thought, you know what, I've got this guitar, I'm not using it as much as I should. So I put it up for sale. And then I thought, before I sell it, was there anybody else that used an ES-125? So I Googled it, and George Thorogood came up. And I was like, oh, and then all these memories came flooding back of me, like, vibing to George Thorogood on rock radio. I'm like, holy shit, he used one of these? So I started reading interviews, and he said, yeah, what color was it? And he said it was the, tobacco burst or whatever, all of them were. And I was like, oh, that's awesome, he used the same guitar as me. Not quite. So he used the ES-125TC. He kept on referring to it as the 125, but the big difference is, and I'll tell you why I know that he used that guitar, apart from that, I did a bit of research, was when I do this is out of tune now. Now, just that little action, right, is so hard for me because I go bam, and look where my fingers are. I fret down. So the natural, I have to change my whole style to reach that. to reach that, because that one is cut away, which is perfect for him and his noodling solos. So the difference with he has a bridge pickup, dog-eared P90, and the cutaway. So, and that, because when I started playing, I first started playing it, I was like, what the, dude, seriously? And I was like, and then I kept on researching and I was looking at pictures, and he was always using that white TC and not the standard one. So that really kind of messed me up a little bit. But guitar is like half of the battle, right? The other aspect mostly is the speaker, but also the amp. So now, George Thorogood, very, I'm not sure if he's doing this to hide what he was using at the time of his debut. But even though that song, Who Do You Love, isn't on the debut, but that's the only one I could play, because I cannot play slide, I cannot pick, we'll get into that later on, of the other aspects of his tone. So he would say, when people would ask him what amp did he use in the studio, he said, I don't know. He said, I would be in the control room and I would just have a cable leading into the live room, and I'd let the producers and everything sort that out. And he used to say that it was just a Fender combo blasted out. So basically on 10, Fender combo, and that's as far as he'd go. So what Fender combo was on self-named debut? I contacted the guy who recorded it. Let me just read you a few of the bands that Terry Manning has been involved with, right? Otis Redding, Isaac Hayes, Shakira, Johnny Winter, Johnny Taylor, bloody hell, Molly Hatchet, yeah, Al Green, Shania Twain, Joe Cocker, Joe Walsh, Lenny Kravitz, amongst others. Iron Maiden, Led Zeppelin, Bryan Adams, ZZ Top, what the hell, Booker T. And he got back to me, what's up, bitches? Hell yeah. And he told me what he thought the amp was that he recorded George Thorogood through. So what was that mystical combo? A Fender Deluxe. If you look at this photo, this is one of the only photos I could find of that era with backline. If you join my Circle of Tone Facebook group, just search Circle of Tone on Facebook. I asked what amp is this, because there's the head on top of a combo. I asked in my Instagram as well, so come check me out on Instagram. And the consensus was that the head was probably a Fender Showman, and the combo was probably a twin. So it could either have been a bandmaster, a bassman, or a showman. And we think it's the head is a showman because of how long it is. It was the longest head at the time, and it's practically as long as that, the twin combo, which is a 2x12. So that is, he's also used Princeton's, he's used Mesa, he's used all sorts of stuff over the years, but for that era, as close as I could get from the producer's mouth, that he thinks it is a Fender Deluxe combo. So we got the guitar, we have the combo, probably, but what is the secret sauce? His fingers, right? He wasn't always electric, right? He started off acoustic blues. He was using a thumb pick and a finger pick, right? So that's part of the style. Style was very kind of aggressive for coming from an acoustic aspect, but I got another theory on that as well. He was actually a minor league baseball player, so that is an athletic. So he had the fucking, the limp wrist, but the slap and the fucking power. I think a lot of his power comes from him being an athlete back in the day. He could have gone down two paths.
Are you with me?
We have a thumb pick, so obviously I can't play with that. I'm a Neanderthal thrasher. I'm not about to get out the thumb pick, but also he made his own slides out of copper pipe. And not only that, he loved the raspiness of it, so he would actually kind of rough it up so that it wouldn't be quite as smooth, so you get the grind And no wonder he was messing up all of his guitars, because he kept on going through guitars like nothing. Between his athletic banging style and the roll he had on his wrist, and fucking it up with basically sandpaper. And I think not recently, but in the past few decades, I think he stopped using the classic vintage old ones, because he was going through them like butter. You don't, I rub this with a diaper now and then, because it's so precious. I mean, 1959, the old Central Lab pots are in here, the old Bumblebee. I wish you could see it. What did I use? I used, speaking of Lenny Kravitz, I used that on Lenny Kravitz, even though that's a Gibson Skylark. I used an old K, which I absolutely love this thing. It's kind of hard to mic up, but I did use the new Sterling. It's the first dynamic mic Sterling have ever put out. They usually put out, these style mics. It is the P10 microphone that I used to mic this up. And so forgive me for strumming and the rest of it, but you know the score. I can't do world-class players' styles on the drop of a hat, you know? I tried slide with Zakk Wylde. I kind of got the tone, but the playing was a little bit off, you know? But yeah, we try. On Circle of Tone, we try. As you can see, I'm not in my old studio with the sound booth and my old cabinets and the rest of it. I'm kind of on a skeleton crew right here while I wait to get a proper house. Basically, a vintage Fender combo, 125TC, copper pipe, the finger style, the aggression, the attitude, and obviously amazing producer's help. Also, he used to say that back in those days, everything was on 10 on the guitar. A lot of people would finesse the tone a little bit with the volume and tone controls, but he said it's like, putting your foot to the metal in a fast car, and that's the way he likes it, where you're hanging on. Poetic way of putting it when it comes to his gritty ass. So you gotta love it, man. It's not often that you can write a pop rock hit with swagger and a little bit of snake hips thrown in. So that's pretty damn cool. And thanks to my patrons of Tone. You guys are awesome. Richard P & Co. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If you want to sign up, it's Patreon/Circle of Tone. And you can donate $1 a month or, $8,000 a month. Hope you liked it. Coming up next, give me a suggestion in the comments below of who you think I should research and cover and the rest of it. I might already have a little folder on it somewhere. So who knows? So have a good one. You've been awesome. Shares to your Thorogood fans, to your rock fans, to your slide fans, to your blues fans, and the groups, and the groupies, and the rupees, and the Snoop Doggy Doggies. Oh my God. Circle of Tone. You are out of practice, boy.